Hey, guess what? I'm still doing spy psychology, and this episode is about engineer extermination. Spy is designed to counter engineer, with his disguises, invisibility, and sapper, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. So this episode of spy psychology is about teaching you the various ways of taking out an engineer in various situations. But first, general tips. 1. When using the red tape recorder, don't. 2. There's a strategy known as the sap and shoot. You sap a building and then immediately start shooting it with your revolver to destroy it quicker. Keep this in mind. 3. If an engineer is in an unfavorable position or situation where you don't think you can take him out easily, just wait for the opportunity to come. Patience is key. 4. A good start to harassing an engineer is by destroying his teleport entrance. Go to the enemy spawn, pay attention to the scoreboard so you know when no one is about to come out of spawn, then do the sap and shoot on the teleporter entrance. 95% of the time, the engineer won't be able to save the teleporter entrance, and this will result in one of three things. The engineer won't rebuild the entrance, afraid about leaving his buildings alone, thus giving your team an advantage, as the enemy team now has to walk all the way from spawn, also giving you a chance to stab unaware players. Or the engineer will walk all the way back to spawn to rebuild the entrance, thus leaving his buildings alone and making it very easy to sap them, or he has the Eureka effect equipped. Well, shit. 5. Just because you were not credited in the kill feed for building destruction, doesn't mean you were not the reason it got destroyed. You could sacrifice yourself to pick off the engineer, as a result, leave the building without someone to repair it. Remember, there is no I in Team Fortress 2. Now for the situations. For starters, a well-known trick to kill an engineer who is in his nest is to trick the engineer into getting telefragged. Go to the teleporter entrance, but instead of sap and shooting it, sap it, then stand in it while disguised. If the engineer was standing right on top of his teleporter when he removes the sapper, he will get telefragged. Do note, however, that this trick usually won't work on more experienced players, which is why this trick is so risky. If the engineer is behind his sentry, hitting it with his wrench, you can do the well-known stab and sap. Backstab the engineer while disguised, then quickly pull out your sapper and sap the sentry before it has time to turn around and shoot you. If the engineer is very close to his sentry but not right behind it, sap it and then try and kill the engineer as soon as possible. Be ready to reapply the sapper if the engineer manages to remove it. You could also try and trick stab the engineer, though the revolver is more preferable, especially the ambassador. If the engineer can be seen by his sentry but is not close to it, you could either sap and shoot the sentry, backstab the engineer and run for cover before the sentry can kill you, or sap the sentry, hide, then stab the engineer as he goes to remove it. You could also try and sap a building that isn't within line of sight of his sentry, as a result, baiting the engineer into leaving the safety of his own nest, or you could just bait him out by annoying him in general. If the engineer ever leaves his nest unoccupied, sap his shit. Quick tips. If the engineer is unaware of you and pulls out the Wrangler, you immediately have an easy kill. Engineers can be killed by their own sentries. Sentries cannot see you if crouched behind a dispenser, and sentries cannot target you properly if you stand up behind a dispenser. As a result, they waste their own ammo. When there is more than one engineer, it's going to be a lot harder to take them out, but there are some ways that you can go about it. For starters, if all the engineers are free-to-plays and are grouped together, it doesn't hurt to just run around amongst them and just spam sappers on all their buildings, because let's be honest, they probably don't have a high enough IQ to know how to deal with it. Though keep in mind that smart engineers don't put their sentries next to other sentries. They spread them out to cover more area. This is so that an overcharged soldier or demo can't just take them out incredibly easily. You can take advantage of this smart engineer behavior by using it as an opportunity to single them out. If you manage to kill one engineer and destroy his nest, your team now only has one sentry to deal with. Though I think the best way to counter this is to fight fire with fire, and metaphorically, not literally, that would just create more fire, The first teamwork-based method is to have multiple spies, who start harassing a nest each at the same time, so one engineer can't help out the other. They can also be effective against a group of free-to-play turtle engineers, but a pyro can easily shut you down in this case. Another teamwork-based method is to just coordinate with a few teammates playing as power classes, such as Soldier, to attack a nest when you start sapping a sentry. If you work together properly, you can easily overwhelm an engineer with a coordinated push. Might I just add that when you fight an engineer, the revolver is probably the best choice. If you land a close-range headshot with the ambassador, followed up by a body shot, it should kill him. Trick stabs can also be a viable option, but you only have 2 chances to get hit by an engineer's melee, so it is a very big risk. But every time you do this, RNGs will fuck you over, every time, because random crits make the game fun and fair for everyone. Why are they still in the game? Some engineers are smart. They are aware of spies and don't let themselves get caught out too easily. Just watch for an opportunity when the engineer is distracted with other tasks, and be careful not to let him hear your decloak. Special thanks to Care Bear and Full Taze for helping me act out some of the scenes I used for this video. Their channels will be in the end screen and the description. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Also join my Discord server. You can talk to me there, as well as other people. You can also submit fan art that could be used for a video, or have some fun with the bots. I've also started being more active on Twitter as well, so follow me there, link is in the description. Thanks guys for watching, and goodbye.